Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. Recent reports have emerged out that Ole Gunnar Solsjaker is only going to be given around £200 million to spend in January and of course next summer. And I did actually say it's very imperative next year that we do get the right calibre players to Manchester United. But the question is, do you think £200 million is enough to get the right number of players that we do need? I'd probably say for £200 million, maybe we could get around three or four players, depending on how we are over our recruitment next year. Because like I did put into the equation on numerous occasions that, we've overpaid for players in recent years, but reportedly he's only going to be given around £200 million. But there again, during the course the summer, we recommended three players into the squad, and we spent obviously nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. But these still definitely deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. Obviously we need probably two midfielders. I think we need a CEM and we need a CDM. We definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also need a right winner, because don't forget for the majority of the summer we was in search for a right winner. We also need at least one striker. We definitely need to recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, because you can say for the vast majority of this season that we've looked very exposed in that attacking line following their departures. Obviously since the return of Anthony Martial, he's added a bit more inspiration in that attacking third on the pitch. As like I mentioned recently, Rashford has rejuvenated himself, but there's still a lot of deficiencies in the squad that I do currently need to be addressed. But I think the board did assure anywhere at the start of this season that they are willing to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the next couple of transfer windows, because I think the board realised that they didn't back him enough during the course of the summer. So I think regardless of the outcome this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job should be safe. But recently Ed Woodward anywhere had assured that Solskjaer's job is safe, despite our disastrous start to the season, because obviously we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for over 30 years. But like I mentioned recently, we have rejuvenated ourselves in the last 6 games or so, prior to the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth. And recently, I have seen a variety of changes. Certain players have stepped up to the plate. Obviously, recently we've seen to be creating more chances, and that's been an element of concern this season, because we have been struggling to create chances in that, and this is the explanation why we haven't been scoring enough goals. Obviously, recently, we have been scoring more goals, and the performances have been better, which is obviously very, very good. Obviously, we're in the international break now. We are sitting 7th in the league. We have registered We've registered 16 points from a possible 36. So in the league so far this season, we've won 4, we've drawn 4, and we have lost 4. And we still know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. And I think a lot of Manchester United fans, including me, are aware that still our league form does need to improve. Without a shadow of a doubt. But definitely, even though we've rejuvenated ourselves recently, we still need to see a variety of changes at the football club. I still believe that there's players at Manchester United, that do need to leave the football club, because these still players here that are no longer, good enough to represent the football club. So my overarching view on that, I think, we need to get rid of at least another 4 or 5 more players next year. But obviously a lot of players have left anywhere, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. I do believe we also need to get rid of our current board, because, they've been a liability for several years. And I think this board do need to assure structural changes at the football club. I think, we also need to get rid of Ed Woodward, because he actually, replicates the board, and, he's been a liability for several years. And I think, due to our inconsistency in, for the vast majority of this season. Solskjaer, has definitely, been accountable for some of that. So some of the blame also, does stem from him. But recently, he's done really, really well because, we've showed a lot of tactical flexibility. And, for the vast majority of this season, a lot of Manchester United fans, including me, obviously have been criticising Solskjaer, with his tactics because he has been tactically naive for the vast majority of the season. Obviously, we've mainly stuck with that 4-2-3-1 formation. Obviously, in a couple of games, we've tried different formations. We've gone with 3 at the back. I think on the odd occasion, we've gone with 4-3-3. But it is good, that we are making plans for the January transfer window. I do believe we'll probably do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer, so we'll look to sign 1 or 2 players in January, but we'll do the vast majority of it next summer. Even though we've rejuvenated ourselves recently, my perceptions haven't really changed regarding Solskjaer. I still believe he isn't the right man to elevate Manchester United forward, and I don't think he's the long-term future for the football club. Don't get me wrong, I think definitely he'll still be at Man United at the end of the season, because I think the club are willing, to give him at least a couple more windows, to see who else he can recommend in to the football club, because obviously analysing the vast majority of this squad, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There's only 3 players at this present time that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, and that, so you've also got to take that into account. But definitely a massive rebuild is needed at the football club. A massive rebuild is needed at the football club. But over the course of the next couple of windows, definitely, our recruitment has got to improve. Maybe my perceptions will start changing regarding Solskjaer. If we can keep this good run of form up until the new year, or if we can keep this good run of form up until the end of the season, then I might start to think, Solskjaer is the right man for Manchester United. But until then, my perceptions, will not currently change. But he's still in the process of currently rebuilding. Solskjaer reportedly has an 8-man list. An 8-man list of long-term targets. And I did initially say, didn't I? I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings, maybe even more, if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. Because analysing our squad, it is a good squad, to be fair. I think it's definitely good enough for a top 4 finish. So if we don't finish in the top 4 this season, then it's not excusable, basically. And I did say, reflect on the size and the potential of this club, and reflect on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club in the last 6 or 7 years. We should be much more commanding a position, than winning now. And, looking at, we should be at least challenging for that top 4. Because obviously, we are around 9 points behind top 4 at the moment. I've actually, fully disregarded that top 4. But I did say, didn't I, at the start of this season, that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top 4. So in that aspect, we can get back into the Champions League. Because obviously, Champions League football is always very, very imperative, when you do want to attract players to the elite level. But, I did expect us at the start of this season anyway, not to win the league or mount any kind of title challenge up in that, because it's a long process, basically. And, I don't think we're going to win the league for at least the next couple of years, because analysing it at the moment, the likes of Liverpool, Man City, are ahead of us, and I think our aspirations probably will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. So it can create a platform. It can obviously give us something to build on. But I did expect at the start, I did say, didn't I, at the start of this season, that I expected us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. But like I did put into the equation, there is a lot of players on our current agenda, who we could go in for next year. Obviously, I've been recently, giving you an update. I've been giving you an update on Erling Haaland from Red Bull Salzburg. Now, reportedly, Solskjaer has identified him as one of his main priority targets. Reportedly, Solskjaer recently instructed instructed a personal scout to watch Erling Haaland. Do you think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United? Don't get me wrong, he is going to cost the club a substantial amount of money. We'd probably have to pay in the excess of around £85 million if we've got any chances of getting him next year. I think we're actually orchestrating on, getting him to the football club in January, so to Jadon Sancho. And Jadon Sancho probably, would cost us in the excess of around £100 million. But I think them two would be the right calibre players for Man United, and there was reports coming out recently saying that we're orchestrating on making a double transfer swoop, for Jadon Sancho and Erling Haaland, and the could cost us in the region of around 185 to 200 million pounds, for both players. I think the beneficial thing probably about recommending Erling Haaland in is that obviously he's played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance during his shorter period with Mould. He has done. And, Solskjaer's probably keen on reuniting with the player. And, I think he's been an absolute revelation for Red Bull Salzburg, especially now this season. He scored 26 goals in 18 games in all competitions. So this season, he has proven himself, to be a prolific goal scorer. He's only 19 years of age. And I would be excited about the prospect of him, playing alongside the likes of Daniel James, Anthony Martial, and Marcus Rashford. So yeah, he's one of the players on our agenda. Regarding Jadon Sancho, like I said, I give you the update about Jadon Sancho recently, didn't I? And it reportedly said, according to the mainstream media, that we are regarded as the favourites to sign Jadon Sancho next year. It actually, could be. It's more imminent that we'll probably get him next summer if we are to get him, rather than January. Because according to what I saw the other day, it said, Jadon Sancho, wants to leave Borussia Dortmund next summer. So he may be orchestrating on spending the rest of this season with Dortmund and then departing at the end of the season. But I think we could actually, go in for Jadon Sancho in January. Obviously, we've been long admirers of him. Don't forget we was in for him during the summer. We also identified him as our number one priority target back in January. But obviously, we didn't get him. Because I think the main reason why we didn't get him was with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. Obviously, Jadon Sancho anyway isn't going to orchestrate on spending the entirety of his career with Borussia Dortmund. He has been at Borussia Dortmund now a couple of years. He's now into his third season with Dortmund. But obviously, Dortmund did get him for next to nothing, basically. They only paid around 7 million, or was it £8 million in from Man City. But analysed his performances in the couple of years he's been in Germany with Dortmund, his valuation has persistently grown. And I've got to be honest, he's been a revelation in Germany, since his arrival from Man City back in 2017. In total for Dortmund in the Bundesliga, I think he's now made around 55 appearances and scored around 16 goals, and I think in all competitions he has made around 74 appearances, but he's done really, really well. It's not only Man United that are in for him, Liverpool are also in for him, Real Madrid, and so to our PSG, so he's attracting interest from quite a few clubs. He is primarily a right winger. You can also play him centrally. But I think, Jadon Sancho would be the right calibre player for Man United. My perception on it, I think he would fit our system better, than Liverpool's. But he is only 19 years of age. And don't forget, I think he'd fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy, perfectly. Because don't forget, Solskjaer, wants to recruit young British players to the football club, just like he did do during the course of the summer. I think there was reports saying he could consider, changing his transfer strategy next year. But yeah, and obviously he did serve a couple of years with Man City before he was at Dortmund. But the reason why he didn't last at Man City because City, couldn't assure him, first team opportunities. So this is why, obviously, he went to join Borussia Dortmund. So yeah, so they're I think there are two main priority targets. I think it's very, very imminent that we're going to sign Mario Mandzukic next year as well. As reports emerged out, I think earlier on this week, saying that the Juventus chef had flown out to England to hold talks with Manchester United, regarding Mario Mandzukic, and I think he's actually going to be our first signing in January. There has been recent reports emerging out saying that if we can reach an informal agreement with Juventus before January, then he could actually start training with the club in December. The good news is that Mario Mandzukic is a cheaper solution. We'll only have to pay around 12 or 13 million pounds for him. I think Man United are prepared to hand him like an 18-month contract. Obviously, we're not going to orchestrate on giving him a long-term contract, regarding his age. And that's the only element of concern, really, I've got about recommending Mario Mandzukic is his age, because he's now 33 years of age. He has, you could arguably say he's only got a couple of years left in his footballing career, Mario Mandzukic. But overall, I've got to be honest, I think he's had a really good career, especially with Juventus. He's now into his fifth season with Juventus. He's Mario Mandzukic, and obviously since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri, Mario Mandzukic has not played a single minute under his guidance, and this is the factor reason why he's surplus to requirements with them. But I think it would be good to recommend Mandzukic anywhere, because he can show the likes of Rashford, Daniel James and Martial how to be more effective in the box. I think he can definitely assure his goals. Obviously, he's a good adequate replacement for Lukaku. Obviously, he's a long-term replacement for him. But I think it's very imminent we're going to sign him next year. But I think Solskjaer wants to bring two attackers in. So once the transfer of Mario Mandzukic is completed, he wants to bring another striker in. And that could probably be Erling Haaland. It may be even Moussa Dembele. Don't forget, Moussa Dembele is on my agenda. We actually inquired about getting Moussa Dembele during the course of the summer transfer window, but obviously, we didn't get him. He wasn't one of our main priority targets, so what I mean in that aspect is that, we was tentatively linked with him. I think the beneficial thing about recommending Moussa Dembele is that obviously he's played in the Premier League. Obviously, with Fulham, he actually began his senior career with Fulham. Then obviously after Fulham went and had a couple of years with Celtic, he had a good couple of years in Scotland. And then obviously now he's at Lyon. Lyon paid around £20 million him from Celtic last summer. He's now into his second season there with Lyon. But if he came to Manchester United, I think he could replicate, what he's done at all them teams. He's still only 23 years of age, so still got a lot of development in him. And I think he's still under contract with Lyon until 2023. So there's a lot of players on our current agenda, but obviously we're looking to bring the right players. We think it's going to fit the culture and the history of the football club. But don't forget, Solskjaer did say at the start of the summer that he wanted to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. Obviously, he ended up recommending 3 players in. So we are still definitely short without a shadow of a doubt. We are still definitely nowhere short. Wait there, guys. Obviously, as I give you the news yesterday, didn't I, guys, regarding Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, he's recently come out and quoted that he wanted. He said that Solskjaer had wanted to convince him to stay at the football club, and that reflecting back in March, Lukaku had told Solskjaer anywhere, that he wanted to leave the football club. And I said the reason why Lukaku left is because he initially lost his place in the team, and Solskjaer did confirm from his own perception that Rashford was his preference over Romelu Lukaku. Some Man United fans will say it was a mistake, from us, getting rid of Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku obviously, endured 2 years at Manchester United. I've got to be honest, analysing his first season, I thought he had an exceptional first season, but didn't really replicate that in his second season. He still come up with a moment of quality in some games and that. But obviously, we did have element of concerns about him anyway. His first touch, big game bottler, his stats against the big teams aren't very good, but he still has got that proven pedigree in the Premier League. And Lukaku scored 42 goals in 96 games for Man United in all competitions. But to be fair, I was happy, with the money that we did generate from his departure. We got around £74 million from him, so basically, we nearly recouped the money, that we paid for him from Everton back in 2017, because we paid £75 million for him from Everton. There was £15 million in add-ons, which did potentially rise it to £90 million. And I think he's done well, since he has gone to Inter Milan as Lukaku. But he had to go, because like I said, he had lost his place in the team. But reportedly, according to him, he's stemming from him, that is, he said Solskjaer wanted to keep him at the club. But obviously, the vast majority of our players that did leave during the summer anyway, they went to Italy. Lukaku did. Sanchez, obviously, Inter Milan. I'm glad, we got rid of Sanchez anyway because, he enjoyed a difficult 18 months with Manchester United, don't forget. Obviously, he's out on loan. He hasn't gone permanently like Lukaku, but I did say we'd have struggled to get rid of, Sanchez permanently, reflecting on the substantial amount he was on, when he was at Man United, because he was on like 400 grand a week with Sanchez. He was the highest paid player at the football club. But yeah, even if Sanchez would have stayed anywhere, he only would have been assured, opportunities in the Europa League and that. He wouldn't have really got opportunities in the league. And he's now, 31 years of age? And I think he's done quite well since he has gone to Inter Milan. But Inter Milan don't have an obligation to buy him at the end of the loan and that. But I can't see him, coming back to Manchester United at the end of the loan. Darmian went to Parma. What? Yeah. Smalling went to Roma for just under £3 million. So quite a lot of our players, of course, did go to Italy. But so like I said to you guys recently as well, we've got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve at Manchester United. And like I did recently mention that, some of the young upcoming players I've got element of concerns about. And this is why I did pinpoint out that we need to get rid of some of the young upcoming players next year. We need to get rid of some of them. But I can definitely assure that the likes of Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Tuanzebe, and perhaps maybe even James Garner, they'll all become successions at the football club without a shadow of a doubt. I think the players we need to consider though getting rid of, the young players that is Chong. I think we need to get rid of him next year. Maybe Angel Gomez as well. He's recently been out with injury. I was reading recent reports about Chong by the way, and it did reportedly say now he's decided not to renew his contract at Man United, and we could lose him on a free transfer at the end of the season. Well, actually, it's looking very, very imminent. It's Juventus that are the team that are interested on getting him on a free transfer. Chong's appearances have been limited at the football club anywhere since he broke into the senior squad. He has played around quite a few games, but not as many to the extent as he probably wants to. I think he's played on like 4 occasions as I am aware of. He is only 19 years of age. He made his competitive debut last season in the 2-0 win in the FA Cup against Reading. But yeah, maybe we need to consider getting rid of him, because I think him and the likes of Angel Gomez, from my own perception, a comparison to the likes of Greenwood, Brandon Williams, and Tuanzebe and that. My overarching view on Mason Greenwood is that I still say his comparison to the likes of Rashford and Anthony Martial and that. Analysing it. I think eventually, as Mason Greenwood develops more and that, and I think he will end up overcoming Marcus Rashford. Not too sure about Martial, but I think he will end up overcoming Marcus Rashford. I think he'll end up becoming a better goal scorer than Marcus Rashford. Mason Greenwood obviously has played a lot of games this season. Obviously, most of them substitute appearances because he's actually not started a game yet from the start. In the Premier League, he's scored 3 senior goals so far this season as Mason Greenwood, and he's only age 18. Don't forget. He's also an option on that right, but you can also put him in that number 9, Mason Greenwood. Like I said, regarding Brandon Williams, he's been absolutely fantastic, and I've got to say, he was fantastic on his full Premier League debut in the 3-1 win against Brighton. And you can say now that left back has been confirmed, definitely been confirmed, because I've got to say I think Brandon Williams is a much better solution than Luke Shaw, even despite the fact that Luke Shaw is our first choice left back, and he's definitely a much better solution than Ashley Young, and he's only 19. And he's obviously earned more first team promotions, like I said he would if he could keep the consistency up. But fair play to Brandon Williams. Like I said, with Tuanzebe, he's done well in the games he's played in this season. He's currently out with a hip injury at the moment. Like Solskjaer recently did confirm, after the international break, more players are expected back from injury. But when Tuanzebe is back in contention, I do believe he will get more opportunities. Like I mentioned, Diego Dalot, he's only played a few games this season because he's actually sustained quite a few injuries this season. Name is Diego Dalot, but I think when he's back in contention, he will be given more opportunities. I don't know, about McTominay, if he can become a succession at the football club. I think, he's done really, really well this season, as Scott McTominay. He's been a consistent starter, but he's deserved to keep his place in the team, reflecting on his impressive performances. Obviously, I gave you the news recently, didn't I, regarding McTominay. He's obviously not out with... He's out with an ankle injury. Obviously, he had the initial scans on his ankle, obviously to see the extent of the injury, and it's actually quite severe. And there was reports emerging out saying he could be out for a month. He's almost assured to miss the City game and the Tottenham games next month due to this injury and that. But that's a real shame. He had to obviously withdraw from the Scotland squad due to this injury. But yeah, McTominay's been fantastic this season. Obviously, we've still got Bay out until the end of the year. Fossil Mensu's still out, but I don't think he's now far away from recovering. But obviously, reflect on the amount of injuries we've had anywhere. Solskjaer's had to, make a lot of alterations in the squad this season. I obviously give you the news about Paul Pogba. Obviously, reports emerged out earlier on this week, that he travelled to Amsterdam, to have his ankle cast removed. So that indicates that he's closer to recovering from injury, because Paul Pogba's missed the vast majority of the games this season due to his ongoing ankle injury. And he has been a big miss in that midfield. But I've got to be honest with you, I think Fred and McTominay have hit the ground running in that midfield. Due to his absentee. Solskjaer did confirm anywhere that Fred will take Paul Pogba's position for a while and that. So I think he's relying on Fred. Like I said with Fred, I don't know if he's the long-term solution for Man United, and I think recently he's done really, really well. Solskjaer praised him for the fantastic performance he put out against Brighton. I will agree on the aspects that definitely Manchester United overpaid for Fred during the summer. We paid just under 50 million, or was it 50 million pounds for him from Shakhtar Donetsk. But I think I think Fred's gaining more of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's trust, and regarding that, I think this is why Fred believes himself that he's improving as a Manchester United player. But a fair play to him. But yeah, we have still got quite a lot of injuries. But I think Solskjaer did say that Matic, Tuanzebe and Luke Shaw are all expected back, after the international break. Don't forget, the vast majority of our squad, not all of them, I don't think, but the vast majority of them they flown out to Dubai earlier on this week, for a warm weather training camp. Solskjaer didn't go, so obviously, he's remained in England, and that. So, yeah, and I've also been, like I mentioned on numerous occasions, been very, very impressed, with the free signings that were recommended in that, Daniel James has been absolutely fantastic, and he's been a surprise solution, really, because, I didn't expect him to perform to the extent as he has done. I didn't expect him to settle in straight away. I didn't expect him to play the amount of games, to the extent as he has done. But fair play to Daniel James and that. He's supposed to see the best of him on that left hand side. Obviously, a few times this season we've put Daniel James on that right. But fair play to him. He's done really, really well. 21 years of age, still got a lot of development in him. There's still some aspects probably of his game that do need to improve. But I've got to say, Solskjaer's overplayed him this season, and that was a good piece of business from Solskjaer. He did rest him in the 3-0 win against Partizan Belgrade, because obviously he knows that he has been overplaying him. Being very, very impressed with Wan-Bissaka. Got to say he's probably been our most consistent signing so far. And Harry Maguire, you could say he's addressed my defensive deficiencies. I definitely will agree on the aspects that Manchester United definitely now overpaid for him, because we paid around £80 million for Harry Maguire. He's obviously the most expensive defender in the world, the second most expensive signing at the football club, but we definitely did overpay for him. But he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career as Harry Maguire. But like I did mention, we'll keep Solsjaker, for at least this season. Don't forget, he has got a 3-year contract with the football club. He got that 3-year contract when he'd been given the job permanently, back in March earlier on this year. I can probably almost assure that he won't see out his 3-year contract, and obviously, unless we can, keep this good run form up. And I think, the couple of reasons why we recommended Solskjaer in after, the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December of last year is because obviously, we saw him as a cheap solution. We didn't really pay that much to get him in from Mould, and plus, he knows the traditions and that of the club, and he was a great long-serving player for Manchester United for 11 years. And if we decided to sack him in the future and that, or any time, obviously he's probably going to cost the club, a substantial amount to get rid of him. We probably wouldn't have to pay as much, in compensation as we did do, to get rid of Jose and Mourinho, But perhaps maybe Solskjaer does need more time at the football club. It's not like he's been here 3-4 years, He's only been at the football club now just under a year overall. He's been permanent boss for around 8 months, And obviously for the vast majority of that 8 months, analysing it, he's enjoyed a really difficult time in comparison to, he's in comparison, to his time, when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period. Because my perceptions regarding Solskjaer in that 3-month period, were actually currently different then. But, like I said, he hasn't really got that managerial experience, to the highest level, and you can say that's an element of concern. But that still doesn't mean he isn't going to succeed at Manchester United. But obviously as a manager, as a manager, his comparisons as he was as a player, because as a player, obviously he had that proven pedigree. But probably, the club have definitely now got to give him more time and that. But we are still backing him. And I think, disregarding him being a club legend and that, you could say maybe disregarding that and, and if he wasn't ever a player for the club and, he was just manager basically, then maybe, he could have been sacked by now. But, I think a lot of pressure has eased off Solskjaer anyway, reflecting, on our good run of form recently. And, obviously, reflecting back before the Liverpool game, Solskjaer was under intense pressure at the football club. And you could arguably say that the Liverpool game, the Norwich game, they were the games that you could arguably say saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club. But I still can assure that I will be here at the end of the season, because us getting rid of him now anyway wouldn't solve any problems at the club, and but yeah. Obviously, regarding the new director of football, and that, I don't think we're going to get one in as yet. I hope we can get one in at some point if we don't get one in now. During the course of the summer, was trying to recommend a new director of footballing. And I did say, didn't I, that's one of the structural changes that we do need at the football club. There was quite a few former Man United players linked with the role during the summer. We can't, obviously Edwin van der Sar now, he's not on that list of becoming Man United's technical director because he just signed a contract extension with Ajax. As you all know, he's the CEO with Ajax. But if we had to get a director of footballing, we need someone who obviously knows this club inside out, someone who's got the right philosophy so they can recruit, the right players in and that, and obviously, someone who's reliable to oversee our transfer business and that. And I did say recently, didn't I, that I thought, Edwin van der Sar, would have been the right candidate and that. But, we haven't got that director of footballing as yet, we haven't got it in as yet, and that. Recently, you got Mike Phelan coming out as well, and he said that Solskjaer's following Sir Matt Busby's philosophy at the football club. Initially, Solskjaer said he was following Ferguson's philosophy at the club, and that because he's looking to bring that fear factor and that winning mentality back to the club, and we know that's not been there since the Alex Ferguson era. And Ferguson did transform Solskjaer into a winner, and I think they are he's replicating Ferguson on that aspect, of obviously, recruiting young players, because obviously, reflecting back on the Ferguson era, he, developed a lot of young players, controlled a lot of the transfer policies, controlled a lot of the contracts and that. And we had a great team under Alex Ferguson. I did say now I'm hopeful that this team at this day and age can replicate what the team did under Ferguson. I'm very sceptical about it, don't get me wrong. There is still actually, a couple of players here now from the Alex Ferguson era, don't forget, But we haven't been under the Ferguson era, now for almost 7 years. This is different groups and different players, that we are currently building. So take that into account and that. But the question is, do you think we're ever going to be the team that was under Ferguson? I can assure that Solskjaer can't invoke Ferguson's legacy at Manchester United. And regardless of what manager we've got anywhere, we'll never do what we did under Alex Ferguson and that. And I just don't see the point in us, recommending new managers in and keep sacking managers. There's just no point to it, because we just don't seem, nothing seems to be really changing in that. And, we've already sacked 3 managers from the football club since the Alex Ferguson era, don't forget. And Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager, and we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers and that. But yeah, and I haven't really seen much improvements under Solskjaer, apart from recently and that time when he was the interim manager. Of what I saw under Mourinho, Van Gaal, and of course David Moyes, I haven't really seen much improvements. But there's still a lot of time for us to turn things around. We're 12 games into the Premier League season, so there's still a lot of twists and turns to come, as I think you are all aware of. But yeah, so that's mainly everything to update you today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.